All right, so I've got a lot of questions from coaches and players. What should we be doing during isolation as far as even just movement prep? How do you break down your different days? So I like to break down my days by types of movement. So today we're going to focus on lateral movement. So we're going to do a movement prep section. We're going to start working on push to base, being in the right body position for that. Work on a little bit of lateral shuffle. We'll do some quick foot ladder. And then I want to finish up by doing a little bit of core work to give you some new ideas on what to do with core. We might do 1 or 2 position specific drills as it pertains to maybe tackling, trying to integrate what we're doing today as from a movement prep standpoint and how you would integrate that very early on in your off season. From there, this is a 15 or 20 minute deal. From there you go to either your weight training if you want to do more to skill development, really however you want to build out your system, but this is what I would recommend, especially for athletes training in isolation. For everything we do today, I just want to be clear, you don't need a lot of space. I always try to figure out if I can fit everything into like a 12 foot by 12 foot box or 15 foot by 15 foot box. If we use any equipment on this, every piece of equipment we use, you can just replicate with a piece of chalk or a stick or a rock or milk cartons. You don't have to buy anything, and I think that's the most important thing. It's not about the equipment. It's really just about finding the right drills to help you develop, continue to develop, take control of your careers while you're in this situation. We're gonna start with a dynamic warm-up. Maddox is gonna help us out. Again, this takes no longer than 5 minutes. Really just trying to push those muscles into position. So we're gonna start with walking hamstring. We're gonna try to use about 15 feet like we talked about earlier, so 5 yards. You don't need room. Just need to pay attention to what you're doing. So we'll go quad stretch, a single leg RDL. Grab the ankle, not the foot. Lean forward. Take your time. Stay balanced. It's good. We're just pushing our hips back on the second part of that. Good. Good, good, good. Now we're going to do alternating side lunges. Everything we work today, as we continue to work lateral movement, we really want to think about, can we keep our elbows inside our cylinder and our hands inside the cylinder? So we always want to keep, if we put a cylinder around ourselves, can we keep our body kind of in here in control at all times as we move around? We don't want to flail with our arms or anything. Everything needs to be position specific, or I should say movement specific. We'll go Spider-Man stretch. Elbow down, rotate up. Now we're going to try to straighten that front leg. Good. Now we can be doing this movement prep literally 30-45 minutes. There's so many exercises. What I really want to do is just get to the point where you get comfortable with a couple of things that you can make your own. Your routine. Let's go now. Let's go just straight leg RDLs back here. Yeah, stretch. I want to just go ahead and make something your routine. You can work off kind of a library of exercises. Get what you think works the best for you depending on what you're doing that day. Good. Really trying to stretch that, push that, you act like your heel's pushing back against the door, closing the door there. Okay, we're gonna open the gate. We'll go close the gate back. Excellent job. Now, hey, I want you to go tall. We're gonna go tall shuffle. Get off the ground, get on your toes. Good, and back. Okay, now we just want to get into base position here. Base position here. And we're going to go push to base. Good. Good. So Maddox did that perfect. Don't go. Just give me 1 sec, Maddox. As you're going, get back in that position. So we're thinking about our athletic position, right? So we want our shoulders over our knees, over our toes. Kind of loose up top here. Tight core. We got the weight on our balls of our feet. We can slide a piece of paper underneath our heels. And that push to base sensation is if I had my hand on Maddox's hip here, he's not reaching out with his foot, he's just pushing on that back leg. So a good cue for you is to get a partner or even to get yourself and just feel that hip push against that hip. We don't want to reach out here because from this position I don't really have any power and I've wasted all the power in my posterior chain. We're trying to move, we're trying to generate force by putting power through the ground using the biggest muscle group in our body, which is our posterior chain. So as we move around today, we're going to do a lot of things that focus on this idea of being able to push the base, right? So we understand, even though that's not going to be perfectly transferable at full speed, what we want to do is understand, ideally we want to try to generate as much power as we can off that back instead of always reaching out and now catching a position where we're kind of have no power except for the ability of our hamstring to move our bodies through that pattern. So now we're going to move up into a little bit more of a dynamic movement where we go, first things first, we go high knee skips. You want to think about your feet hitting the ground at the same time. Heel ups. We'll go lateral high knee skip. Pushing that ground away. Push that ground away. Good. Good. Hey, always want to keep arms. And one of the hard things about doing stuff laterally is as we push, we want to kind of, roll those windows up for balance. Really, we're here. And as we move, push, push. We just want to push and keep everything in balance. Even as we move today, as I have him shuffle right now, we're just going to get in a base position, Maddox. Just shuffle 5 yards and back, okay? We want our hands and elbows in here. Good. And he's trying, you can see he's trying to push the ground away, push the ground away, push the ground away, instead of reaching for it, reaching for it. So every time we do that push the base move, if we go slow motion, we extend that back leg. We extend that back leg every time. And then as we progress, we'll be able to do that a little bit more dynamically. Quick review. Athletic movements are all kind of, we all talk about hip hinge based movements, which means if you're going to broad jump right now, if I told Maddox to broad jump, he would get here to jump forward, okay? Extend those hips. So we don't want to get in a position like this where we go knees forward first, so we're kind of up on our toes or the outside of our foot. What we want to do is we want to put our hips back because we want to load the strongest part of our body. Strongest part of our body, glutes, hammies, that posterior chain, we're here. So this is kind of the position you want to be in, right? I don't need to be way back. I got a slight knee bend, but I push my hips back. So I slight knee bend, push my hips back, and now I can really go in any direction, but I can generate a lot of force with my hips. So we have a tendency sometimes to kind of get like this because we think when you hear an athlete hears them, a coach say, get on your toes, they're literally like, I got to get on my toes. This is a terrible position to be in. It's really, get on your toes just means like get your heels a little bit off the ground, be light, be on the balls of your feet. You want to always think about light feet, quick feet. Being in this position, you have a lot of action to you. So now we're going to do that. We're just going to shuffle through these. We're going to go forward and then back. Loose shoulder. Get down. Lower. There you go. Good. All we're going to do is this.
Shuffle, dive, and plant.
Yep. Shuffle, plant. All right, so building off the push to base, same idea now, but we're going to try to bring everything together for a full drill. So if you have cones, perfect. If you don't, we just had 2 hurdles in the speaker. About 4 yards apart, you're going to straddle the middle cone, get in that athletic position again, and first time we're going to go about 25-30%, push the base, change direction, back, all the way back here. And then we want to speed up. We want to be able to keep a couple things, right? We want to have our ankle, knee, and hips in a good athletic joint position. We want to be stacked, shoulders over our toes and our knees, core tight. When I move, I don't want to stand up or start bouncing up and down. I want to be able to try to maintain the same kind of shoulder and hip height. But when I change direction in particular, I really want to explode off the ground. So I'll go about 75% here. As I go, I'm back. You really want to be able to feel that weight on your inside foot as you push off. So it's not going to look mechanical. Even when you're going fast, you're not going to look like mechanical. You're going to be shuffling. You just don't want to bring your feet together because you can't do anything athletic from this position, right? So it's going to be quick, little steps. You just want to work on that change of direction, pushing off the weight of the inside foot on that plan foot. You're going to feel it here. Ready? Clap, go. Perfect. All right, guys, so this is anti-rotation press. If you have bands, that's great. If not, just a reminder, you can do this against any pull by just pressing against it isometrically. So we're gonna grab, if you do have a band, grab with your outside hand, clasp with your inside hand here. We're gonna bring that, we're gonna step out so there's a fair amount of tension. We're gonna bring that, your fist right to the middle of your stomach. You get in that athletic position again, screw those feet into the ground, flex the glutes, tighten that core up, and there's gonna breathe out, press out, hold for a second, and back in. Here for 8. Until you get good tension, you gotta keep moving out. Or you can just hold for 20 seconds here, and then obviously you switch. So Tom, you want a demo? Breathe out. Good. You want that band to be just like he has it, so it's coming straight out, so that angle between his arms and the band is perpendicular, 90-degree angle. Excellent, easy. All right. Okay, so we're gonna do some more rotational work. So this, again, if you have a band, that's great. Just kind of grab it so you have a good amount of tension up top. And you're just gonna try to keep that core tight here. So I flex that core down, and you're just coming down to the side. Down to the side. Breathe out. Breathe out. If you don't have that, you can use any weight. We have a kettlebell here, but you can really just go hip to hip. Hip to hip. Sit. Okay, so as we build this off-season development program, the first thing that I like to look at with defensive players, really talking about DBs, linebackers, and special teams, we start talking about tackling. We want to do all the transfer from what we do in the weight room to how it applies to the practice field. We want to be that bridge, and we really want to focus on the details of technique. And it's usually going to start with footwork first. We work from the ground up. Now, how you get to a tackle is going to determine what you do at that confrontation, what you do when you get there. So footwork's the most important thing for me. So when I've done a kind of a 2-year study using my objective assessment program, and the top 2 things on tackling, the areas of opportunity, are 1, is the player able to decelerate under control so then they can gather themselves and get into contact, and then 2, as a consequence of that, are they able to hammer same foot, same shoulder, come into a good shoulder contact. So we're going to work from the ground up. This is the first drill we're going to do, and it's really, I just call it the star drill. It's very simple. Anybody can do this at home. Looks like you need five different colored cones. If you have a partner, that's great. If not, the team can just send out a cadence that just has repetitive either colors or numbers that are associated with colors, however you want to do it, if you want to add some sort of distraction here. But I like to look at the forward turn is going to be a sprint and a back pedal back to the middle. The sides are going to be lateral, back to the middle, and then the back ones are going to be backwards, around, back to the middle. And that's really all we're doing. We're going to do that at full speed. We'll do it for 10 to 12 seconds, see how many we can get in. And then at the end of that, when you want to start adding things, you add the visual by, like let's say for example, you have the iPad that has multiple colors on the screen. You designate the color black to be a full sprint, or if you have a partner, you designate when the ball comes up, and now you're running towards the ball and making extra plays. So this is a very easy drill to start with, and it's really working kind of all the basic mechanics of lateral movement, deceleration, acceleration, and back pedal. Okay, so we don't quite know if you're gonna have a partner yet, but I'm gonna assume that a lot of people have a partner to work with. And again, this is a very small space. This is all the space you need for this drill. And we're starting to work on our shoulder contact and attack. Now, like I said before, one of the biggest areas of opportunity for all teams in the breakdown that I did was just the ability to be able to go same foot, same shoulder into contact. So we really want to force that early on and really kind of grease that groove of doing it well over time. So I just call this the mirror drill. This is kind of the first drill that we would do when it actually comes to tackling. So with no contact. And all we're gonna do is I'm gonna be the defender. Maddox is playing, he's the ball carrier. And all he's gonna do is come down about 50% speed right now at the yellow or the white cone. I have my feet moving, and as he comes down, I'm gonna come in. I just wanna associate foot in the hoop, so I wanna get my foot near him, and I wanna touch his hip. So I'm thinking same foot, same shoulder. I'm not gonna make contact now, but I just wanted that association. Then I'm gonna come back. I'm back, I'm moving my feet. He comes down, it's here. I wanna make that association. I'm back, I'm here. I wanna make that association. That's all we're doing. So we get, 3 to 4 sets, 3 to 4 reps there, and it's just, again, greasing that groove. When I come into contact with a player that's coming downhill, I wanna be same foot, same shoulder, so I can come in, really make that strong contact at the hip, associate everything, foot forward, hand forward, shoulder forward.